I'm Sean. I make over $100,000 a month on Airbnb, and I'm going to give you 4 good reasons to raise your prices. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back, Airbnb family. A lot of you have asked the same question a few different ways, and apparently our pricing strategy videos only give you the tactics, but not the philosophy behind pricing. So I'm going to tell you why most of you should be raising your prices indiscriminately across all of your properties across the board, and there's some good reasons why. So first, let's give you the 4 reasons, and then I'm going to tell you how to track also what you should base your prices off of as like a baseline before raising or lowering your prices. So reason number 1 to raise your prices more than normal: your listing is new. This is an SEO advantage. If your listing's new, you have 3 months where you're going to pop up more than anybody else just because your listing's new. This gives you the opportunity to charge more money. You're going to get more views, which obviously means more bookings, right? So the way you look at this is look at it like a funnel. Okay, so for every 100 views, if you get 2 bookings, that's a 2% conversion. If your rates are higher, you might only get a 1.5 or 1% conversion. But if you're going to get 50% more views or 100% more views for the first 3 months, then you're fine with half the conversion and higher margins, because remember, now people's reviews say how much they paid for the listing. You want your reviews to say you've charged more money, right? That's good. So listing new. 2, this leads into the next one, because when your listing's new, you also get a 20% off for new customers coupon. So you should charge more money when you have a coupon. This is another conversion rate thing. So when somebody sees that they get this special discount, imagine Kohl's. They have the same model. They mark everything up just to mark it down, 40% off, when that's their target price anyway, right? So if you have a coupon, raise your rates more, so that way the coupon brings you down towards your target rate. Makes sense? You're still going to collect the same amount of money, but you'll get a higher conversion percentage because people want the coupon. Life is good. That's how that works. 3, another good reason to raise your rates is when your calendar is open. The reason why is because you're going to pop up in searches more. Again, this is another SEO thing. The more dates you have available, the more valuable your property is, because the more types of guests you can accommodate. You can accommodate a 3-month-long stay or a 1-month-long stay, 2-week-long stay. But the moment you have a 3-day booking one weekend in the middle of your calendar, it ruins your ability to have that month-long stay. Make sense? So this leads us to number 4, which is raise your rates if you plan on doing a long-term discount. I do this all the time. I jack my nightly rates up really high, just so that way I can offer 50 or 60% off for the month. And I still get single night bookings at these rates I never thought people would pay a single night booking for. So I'm making really good money on my single nights, and then of course 50, 60% off on the month longs, which gives me more long-term stays, which gives me less churn, that gives me less operations load. I have less guests to attend to in and out, and that's the bulk of working in Airbnb business. Is it takes time to check guests in, answer initial questions, check guests out, do the cleaning, the turnover. So if you have longer term stays, it's just better for your business, right? So how should you set your prices? That's a big question. So every city's different, and this is the part where you're going to have to take a few philosophies away from this video. I'm going to give you 2 main ones that I use. So first, let's look at 4-star hotels. They have a certain nightly price, and I want you to base your competitive strategy against 4-star hotels' nightly prices. So if you can occupy 2 guests, look at a king suite at a 4-star hotel and try to judge your prices based off of there for your bookings that are further into the future. Of course, when it gets closer and closer to the date of arrival, you're going to start fire selling off these listings, of course, to make sure that they get full. But if you have more occupancy than a hotel, it might seem hard to do this, right? But there's a solution. So take a double suite, right? One that has 2 queen beds. That can occupy 4 people. Find out what the nightly rate is for that double suite and divide that by 4. That is your weighted nightly rate per occupant at your competitor hotel. Do this at your few local hotels that are most relevant to your area, and get that weighted nightly per occupant cost. Then take how many occupants your listing can take, multiply your occupant number by that number. So if a hotel is $180 a night for a double suite, then that's $45 per person. Your 10-person listing should be able to charge $450 a night. Makes sense? Okay, so of course these listings will get booked more in the future. The bigger the property, the farther out your big bookings will come. So 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks from now, you'll get those groups of 10, 12, or 15. Now, when it's a month from now, 3 weeks from now, there will be less large groups and more small groups traveling. So you're going to start to scale your listings prices down closer towards a competitive rate for a group of 2 or 3 or 4 that's going to stay. Makes sense? So yes, that $450 a night listing for 10 occupants will become $100 a night or $135 a night a week out, right? Or 10 days out. You might even go as low as $60 to $80 a night day of for that property that you normally collect $450 for. Crazy, right? Okay, so the other way to base your prices, get on Airbnb and look around your local area and find out what other people are listing for, and try to find the more expensive ones that are on Instant Book, okay? And then go into their calendar, like check availability. When you go to click on it, it's going to give you basically grayed out dates where it's unavailable and dates where it's open. I know a few of you think that those grayed out dates might be because they decided just not to list their property those few days, but you can tell which hosts are actively full timing their listing and which hosts are just kind of part timing it. So when you look around your area, look for those hosts that you can tell that this is a full-time Airbnb listing, and that way it's on Instant Book. The only days are ever grayed out are days that are booked, right? So take a look at those, and the ones that are getting bookings and are the most expensive, that's the rate you want to start basing around. Set your prices there, and if you perform well, then slowly raise your prices. Restaurants do this. If their chairs are always full, then they're not charging enough for their food, right? You have 50 tables and 50 of them come to eat, and you charge an average of $15 a plate. That's $750, right, on a plate for 50 plates. But if there's 50 tables and say only 48 of them get booked, but you charge an extra $2 a plate, sure, you lost 30 on the 2 plates that didn't eat, but then you got an extra $96 on the plates that did. And that's 1 plate per table. So do that multiplication by 4, right? Because most groups are 4 or 2. So with that logic, you slowly raise your rates until you don't have 100% occupancy. You raise your rates some more until you're probably floating somewhere around 94% occupancy. And the way you do that is, of course, you get your big bookings far out, and you slowly lower your rates further and further in, and you will get about 90 to 95% occupancy if you manage your rates properly. There are two resources for you here you can use to also get a grip for what you should charge for your prices. That's AirDNA and then Wheelhouse. So here's how that works. AirDNA will give you a graph based on percentiles, what the lower 25% charges, what the median is, what the upper 25% charges, and also what those occupancies are too. You can't tell which listing is also at the top of its occupancy and the top of its percentile for listed price. Sorry, but AirDNA will give you some insights on your area, and I think they're the report's $90 per city, I think. So this is not a good resource for absolutely new people, because you really have to understand the Airbnb platform so you can digest the information that they're giving you. It's really just analytics. And if you don't understand Airbnb, it's going to give you some information that you won't know what to take away from. Another one, Wheelhouse, they charge you to automate your pricing strategy. It's 1% or 0.7% for a set of listings over 10, I think. But they do have a free portion of the software. If you choose not to automate your services through Wheelhouse, you can still load your profiles up. They still get your data, which is what they would love to have. And they'll give you pricing recommendations based on their analytics and their algorithm. And you can then manually change your prices based on what they tell you. So if you want more of an advanced approach, using Wheelhouse's free feature should work. And I'll leave a link for Wheelhouse down below at the bottom of this video. And I hope all of this has been helpful for you. But moral of the story here, raise your prices, because when I do consulting calls with you guys on my clarity.com or my clarity.fm website, a lot of you tell me all about your property. You have questions, and your questions aren't usually about price, but you tell me how much you're listing your place for and how many people you can host. And all the time, you guys are just charging way too little. This is a conversation I have with many of you. It's okay, first let's talk about your pricing and restructure it. You'd be surprised how many of you are selling yourself short. And let me tell you why you do this. I know this is kind of like a bonus topic here, a little psychology for you. The reason why I think a lot of you are lowering your rates to the price that they are, or just setting them at the price that they are, is you're looking at your costs, right? The reality of your business. Well, my rent is this much, or my mortgage is this much. The stuff that I have to buy for my listing is XYZ price, and you have this bundled cost. And you're like, well, I would like to triple that, right? Or I'd like to double that. And so that's your target goal. And you're like, well, if I can get, 70% occupancy to double my money, then I would just need to charge this much per night. I think you guys are kind of like reverse engineering your price based on your income goals. There's nothing really wrong with that, but you're definitely not maximizing profit. And business is about maximizing your profit, not just hitting your little income goals. Remember, you're not an Airbnb host anymore. You are a business owner. Run it like a business and make a lot of money, because that's why we're here, is to build a better life, not just cover our rent. So thank you for watching Airbnb Automated, and I will see you on the other side.